welcome to an extended episode of Chatting with Janine. I'm your host, State Representative Janine Nodder. If you've been watching my show this year, you may have caught the episodes with Representative Michael Yakubovich. He grew up in the Soviet Union, and he came on the show to talk about his life there. And this week, I have a guest who grew up in communist China. Her name is Lily Tang Williams, and she's running for the 2nd Congressional District. Welcome, Lily.
Well, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure. First time to be here.
Yes, and it's nice meeting you too, although I think we met before at events.
Right, yes. I have seen you before, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So you're involved with the Federation of Republican Women?
Right.
Yes, I am too.
And also I am the chair of Aging American Coalition in New Hampshire. I co-founded that last year.
Oh,
and,
okay.
And I'm a supervisor of checklist in Ware. I was elected last March. And I was also our Ware GOP committee chair for 18 months. I just resigned in order to focus on my own campaign for Congress. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you have an interesting slogan for your campaign, and it's just tell the viewers what it is.
Well, it's my ads video called "Lily for Congress." I fear the country I love is becoming like the country I left. That's my slogan.
I fear the country I love is becoming like the country I left.
Yes.
So the country you love is the United States of America.
Yes.
And
yes.
the country you left is China?
Yes, China. I left China about 2 months before my 24th birthday. And I arrived in Austin, Texas, 1988, May 11th.
Austin in 1988?
Yes.
Was I there? Let's
yeah,
see.
May
I was
11th.
There.
Yeah,
oh,
you were.
I was in Texas from 89 to 91.
Yeah, here's a very romantic story though. I met my husband first night I arrived in America.
Really?
Now we've been married for 31 years with 3 beautiful young adult children.
Wow, maybe we should start off with your photos.
Yeah, like the thing is though, I could not even speak English, and he was very patient and he taught me how to speak English and how to learn about my new country.
Okay. Is that your family?
That's my family. When I was born, I was a little girl on the horse, and my mom, dad, and that the older girl actually is my aunt.
Oh, you were a cute little thing.
Yes, of course, if people understand what communism is, and everybody work for the state. And everything is owned by the state. We own nothing.
There's no personal property.
No private property, no private business.
How old were you in this picture?
That picture, I was in middle school. I was wearing a red guard outfit. So you see a little flag on the left. Mm-hmm. That means it says 红卫兵. It's red guard. And,
red guard.
Red guard, yeah. So
communist guard.
Right, so Mao has his students organization starting with Young Pioneer, where you wear red scarf, and then the Red Guard, then the Communist Youth League, and then the Communist Party. So he has 4 levels.
So they start you off when you're very young. And
yes. That's why I truly understand the power of indoctrination.
Indoctrination,
yes.
Well, and what is it? How old are you here?
I was 12 years old when Chairman Mao died, and we mourned for his death for about 30 days. And every day they were playing loud speakers and with very sad music and tear-jerky. And I was very depressed. You can tell that picture. I was truly sad also because we were brainwashed to believe Mao was like a god. This little mouse quotation book, little red book. Mm-hmm. So we used to hold that little red book and to say, long live Chairman Mao, 10,000 years, another 10,000 years, long live, double 10,000 years. So we never challenged that. I was in school up to 12 years old. We just brainwashed, and politics was in your life, in your face every day. And we went to school 6 days a week, all government controlled schooling. Everybody was politically correct. So I really thought Mao was like a godlike leader. And we could not believe other religions because other religions were all demonized and called like cult religions. So Mao become like a god. So when he died, you see that picture, for the first time in my life, I was asking questions inside of my own head because you could not even ask questions. If you ask wrong questions, you could
disappear.
that you could get trouble. So it's like, what happened? Who lied to me? So I realized Mao was a human being. He died. And who lied to me? Who lied to my entire generation? Who lied to the whole
so that's
country?
when you started waking up to the fact
that's it. That's why, but
your immortal God
I know
died.
that's downtown Chengdu, which is the capital city of Sichuan province. And we lived in the cities, and the Mao statue is still there today. And my parents were illiterate, working, poor class, so they were a little bit probably just better off than the 70% of peasants living in the countryside at that time. But still, we were at the bottom of the food chain. When people sold to communism, say the workers' rules, the proletarian rules, but it's not the case. When you were born into illiterate working class poor, we had the least amount of food rationing coupons. We had very primitive living conditions, and 8 families share one bathroom.
8 families?
Share one bathroom.
8 families share one bathroom. This is life under communism.
Yeah, it is. And
I keep telling people that. I say, be careful what you wish for, because, it seems like there's a growing group of people that are embracing socialism. Socialism is one step away from communism. And in order for everybody to be equal, you all have to be lowered to the lowest common denominator, which means 8 families sharing one bathroom.
Yeah, and it wasn't even free because the people, Mao, sold his ideology to all the Chinese, especially the poor working Chinese and peasants. Like communism is great utopian. Once you have utopian, you're gonna get what you want. So that but they never came. Yeah.
How old are you in this picture?
That was my first day in America at Austin, Texas airport. So I was like 23, 2 months before my 24th birthday.
Very pretty.
And I was only 98 pounds,
And you met a nice guy on this day?
Yeah, I met my husband, future husband, the first night.
There he is.
Yeah,
wow.
so
Beautiful bride.
we got married in the Methodist church because my mother-in-law actually was Methodist. So we had a preacher. And he actually performed the, the service for us. And he was so moved by our stories. And we gave him money. He said, no, it's my pleasure to marry you too. Yeah, so that was great. And of course, that it's like many years later, we left Colorado. And came to New Hampshire.
Okay, I saw this picture on
And we had to
Facebook.
drive 2 trips. First time you drive with your car, with a trailer, with the most important stuff in there.
And
then we flew back
and
get all our stuff. And my husband, first time actually put me next to, to him, drove this 26-foot big truck. It was very noisy, very bumpy the whole trip to coming here. I could not even look at my cell phone because you were like dong 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 dong. And I said, well, since this might be our last chance for me to ride in that big truck with you, maybe I should. So we moved ourselves twice.
I bet you passed a lot of corn along the way.
Driving
across the country.
So lots of America. It's like 3,000 miles.
I know. Yeah, we've driven across country, and my boys
3
just kept talking about the corn. It was funny.
Yeah.
And here you are voting. So obviously you became an American citizen because there you are voting.
Well, you have to. I got my graduate school degree, master degree, and we got married while in graduate school. And then I took my husband first time to China, introduced him to my families, and I was pregnant with our first baby. So my awakening process in my new country is 20 years. So I grew up brainwashed, and I was continuous to be like living in my own mindset. When you are indoctrinated all your life, you don't know the truth. It really takes another lifetime to get rid of it.
Was this your first time voting?
Yeah, of course. I was, Chinese people, even today, they cannot vote. They don't have voting rights. It's a one-party dictatorship by CCP, China's Communist Party. All the leaders were appointed, not elected. That's why they don't care about regular people. That's why they cover up all kind of crises in order to make themselves look good. Well, that's why they delayed the COVID. COVID cover-up was like 6 weeks before the world knows about it. And so when I married my husband and took 5 years after green card to become citizen, you have to take a civics test. And once you become citizen, then I remember that day in the court, we all, and said, play the allegiance to the United States of America. Everybody was super happy. And so first time I voted, and I think I voted Republican. I was Republican that time. And I was so happy, and I asked my husband take a picture because I said, well, this is right. People some here take it for granted, but other countries people, will die for it to choose your own representatives who in line with your values. That's something I don't take that lightly.
We always make a fuss at the polls when there's a first-time voter. First-time voter, first-time voter.
I nobody did that for me, but
picture?
they did not know. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Obviously, New Hampshire. Beautiful background.
That's last October. My 3 young adult children for the first time come to visit us, and we say, hey, fall is best time to come. So we have 20 acres in Ware, so that's just our backyard with different colors, and so I feel very blessed coming here to America with only $100 in my pocket, could not speak English. And I owe my professor sponsor $1,200 by taking, English tests, applying for graduate school, doing all the paperwork, and buy an air ticket, so that so I started really very negatively in this country, I did not even know how to pay bill when I first came.
You didn't speak English. How did you say hello to your husband, or the man who became your husband?
It just hello, simple stuff. Well, of course, he did not become my husband. I just met him first night. We dated for 18 months. And lots of time when we were dating, he was teaching me how to pronounce English.
Well, it was did you say that was 1988? So you didn't have a cell phone with a translator
No,
app?
nothing. It was very difficult for me to even study in graduate school. I could not understand what my professors were saying. So I had to, I barely passed TOEFL. I was a condition enrolled graduate student as foreign student. They lowered standards for me because, my first language was not English. And so I got waived to take a GRE test for graduate school. And so I used all kind of connections to get into graduate school. And I come here, it was very difficult to understand professors' lectures. And my classmates were very kind to me. My professors were very kind to me. So they let me to ask questions, borrow notes, recording lectures, and I had my dictionaries. And so first year I was conditional student. That means if I don't make 3.0 as a GPA, they're gonna kick me out. So I tried so hard. I read my first paper recently I wrote in graduate school. Oh, it was so bad. It was so bad. But that tells you how kind Texans were to me. My professors, my classmates, my neighbors, all were very kind to me. They knew also I was very poor. So they offered me free stuff. Like, do you need a blanket? Do you need a kitchenware? Do you need a clothes? Do you need a ride to grocery store to buy food? And that's why it is hard to sell to me like America is a systemic racist country. I came here in 1988. Everybody was so welcoming, so wonderful to me. My godmother later become like my mother on my wedding to, kind of marry me basically out. And she was a Democrat in Texas. She was very competitive. She was very nice to me. Her entire family were nice to me. I even lived with her for 2 weeks when I did not have any place to go. So that's why I said, you know what? American people are the most generous people on earth. I went to lots of other countries. I lived in China for 24 years. And that's how I feel. I just love this country and love American people. And I feel very welcome in New Hampshire too, even though I'm supposed to be people of color, oppressed, and like a victim or something. It's hard to sell me that because lots of people like us who try so hard to come to this country because we fled totalitarian countries, and we know what the real oppression is about, and how little freedom we had as individual citizens. I could not vote. I could not speak up. So now here I am running for Congress. Tell me about what is living an American dream, right?
So my best friend in high school is Chinese. We still keep in touch. Every once in a while I get to see her.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. See, lots of my Chinese friends, Asian friends, I don't know, each individual might have different experience. But my entire experience here, almost like now, 33 years later, I really have not personally experienced discrimination based on my skin color except just one time in the like traffic incident or something. But I stood up for myself, no problem at all.
So I want to hear a little bit more about life in communist China, because we already heard Michael Yakubovich's story, and he said he was lucky they only had to share their apartment with one other family. Like, how many? Do you have any brothers and sisters?
I have two younger brothers, and
so they must have been born before China put the one-child policy in place.
Right. Yes.
So now they have forced abortions. If you dare get pregnant with a second child,
yeah, that was before they have a second child, third child policy. It's always the government interfere with your family decisions, and so what life is like. My memory started in this community housing where 8 families and shared this like long row housing for workers. Remember, everybody worked for state as a worker 6 days a week.
Even children too?
Well, children cannot work. They're supposed to go to school. But my parents work for the factory, stay 6 days a week. And this community housing was very primitive. We have one location for just one water faucet, so everybody have to go there, stand in line to get your water. And if water run out, you're out of luck. You cannot clean, you cannot cook. There's one big hole on the ground at the end of the yard, where just basically divided by like a little something in the middle, like a half for man, half for woman, but it's one big giant hole under the ground. Yeah,
that's go there bathroom?
Squat. Yeah, that's the bathroom. You go there squat. And every couple weeks, a peasant will come to dig the human waste out, put into bucket, and take to the field and use as fertilizer. That's why in China, for years, when you go to China, they tell you don't drink the water, don't eat the salad. There's no, eating salad is not safe, like raw veg. They boil everything.
Yeah.
You cannot even drink faucet water, because you have to buy bottled water because it's just not safe. So I had no idea, of course, what world is like. I just knew we're very poor. And
what did you eat? What kind of things did you eat?
We had the food rationing coupons for rice, flours, potatoes, and sugar, and milk powders, and all the proteins, that means all the meat and all the eggs. We had a rationing coupon for everything. But the rationing coupon is based on your parents' status, how high their positions are inside of state factories and inside the party, the Communist Party. But my parents were illiterate working class, so they were at the bottom of the food chain, basically. And still, they had the food to eat, but we were just hungry all the time. To give you a number, how many pounds of protein supplies we had a month for family of 5 is 2.8 pounds.
2.8 pounds of meat?
All protein? The meat, all the eggs.
Meat or eggs?
Yes.
Not both.
So you are super lucky that if you have your birthday, you get one boiled egg that day. Then you should be happy. I grew up without any toys. Well, how can we afford toys if you don't even have food to eat? And I just remember I was super hungry. And when I was babysitted by my grandmother in her courtyard, my uncle said, hey, let's go trap that rat is running around in her courtyard. So, we got one rat and he burned it over the fire, and then we could suck on the bones and take skin off and all that. But hey, pretty soon the rats run out too. Everybody it's like today's
the cats and
Venezuela. Yeah,
dogs?
it's like today's Venezuela. The
Yeah.
cats and dogs are gone. Well, because people want to survive.
Yeah,
But
I
but a
understand.
few years before I was born, Mao's central planning communist economic politics caused the mass famine. I even did not know that until I come to this country. Caused by him, the mass famine, 40 million people died of starvation. Our kids don't know that.
No, they don't.
They don't know that. And when I go to school, I say, well, how many people died under Mao, do you know? And I say more than how many people under Hitler. They couldn't believe it because they just did not know. They were
When you
not
say
taught.
Mao, you mean Mao Zedong?
Yeah, Chairman Mao Zedong, and my godlike leader, and I worship him instead of I was raised as Buddhas, but our temples all were shutting down, burned down by Red Guard during the Mao's Cultural Revolution. And
So they wouldn't even allow Buddhism. Wow.
no religion was allowed under communist country. Even today, all religions, all the churches inside of China today have to be state licensed. It's you're supposed to hang Jesus picture in your church with the Chairman Xi's portrait together. That's a state licensed church.
Wow.
And they also want you to get rid of the cross on top of the church because they don't want that. They want to so-called religion with China's socialist characteristics. They have all kind of slogans. So.
Now, in the summertime Beijing Olympics, they showed like a food stand, and there were like giant bugs on a stick. Did you eat bugs and anything that moves?
Well,
that or starve.
We did not even have bugs. I mean, because everything ran out. So the worst comes is that I'm the oldest of 3 children, and I supposed to babysit my baby brother when I was 6 years old. He was 1. My parents could not afford the state factory infant care, so they begged me to stay home to babysit him. Even though I was dying to just desperately go to school, I want to learn how to read, and life was extremely boring, no fun. I wanted to read so I can, open up on my mind. And my parents keep telling me because they were not educated, they could not get a promotion, so our food was not enough. Our living condition was primitive, and they wanted me to value education. I wanted to go to school at 6, but I was held back for 1 year to babysit my baby brother.
So how did you get from that point in your life to coming to America?
Well, it's long process. To summarize short, I went through the poverty. I went through the indoctrination in schools, and I did very well in school as always a top student, until Mao died, and I thought
that was the turning point.
That was my first turning point in my life to say, somebody lied to me. I need to go to get more educated. I need to search for truth. And they open up colleges. So from 14 years old to 17 years old, 3 years, I was focused on pass this nationalized college entrance exam to go to best university in China. And I wanted to study law because later the Deng Xiaoping's Communist Party came out to say Mao was human. He made a mistake. And 10 years Cultural Revolution was a mistake. So I was totally lost. It's like, okay, so somebody did lie to me, right? So I wanted to go search for truth. And I said, maybe my country, China, would be a lot better off if we have a rule of law instead of rule of man. Especially a madman, psychopath man wants to control the whole country like Mao. So by the time I went to college, and at the age of 17, law degree is a 4 years college degree, not JD in China. So I was second time lost again in law school because they told us, our professor told us, law is a tool by the party to govern the masses, to govern the people. It's not what I thought. I'm going to serve the common people for justice. Justice is supposed to be protected in my mind under the rule of law. So I become rebellious college student. I was searching for truth, and I met some foreign students. And during my 3rd years in study, and I met an American student. He told me about America, and he told me about the Declaration of Independence. And
I'm going to cry.
I know it's like
That's very
yeah, it's
touching.
like oh Lily, do you know that because when he read, my English was very bad, but he read to me, all men are created equal. I don't understand that. I said, what do you mean? He said, Lily, you're Chinese, you're a woman, but you are individual, created by God, by your creator, not by government. So we're both going to cry.
I know you're going to cry too.
And my light bulbs came on. And once that come on, it never turned off. Yeah.
Wow. So the country that you love is becoming like the country that you left. So, look around you. You can. There's nothing. There's things missing on the shelves. It's not like it used to be. You can't go shopping anymore. I mean, gas is outrageous.
Well, it's more than that. I have noticed when I woke up in this country, it was 2008. I was already here for 20 years. But as I said, I was indoctrinated. I did not know the truth. Until my English got better, I got a layoff. I had more time to study about my new country political system. And my husband told me that, Lily, you were fighting your government to get out of China. And you had to try so hard to leave China. But you are trapped in your mindset. I was totally believer of government providing solutions to all our problems. I never learned about free market capitalism, economics 101. So when I saw problem in this country, I always tell my husband, government should do this, government should do that. He said, Lily, it's like you're trying to get out of China.
Yeah, see, a lot of people think that way. They think it's the government's job to do everything, to even supply feminine products.
I know. So he told me, Lily, you need to study go read some new books. You know what he recommended me to read was Free to Choose by Milton Friedman. And it's like my second time my light bulbs came on. First time my light bulb came on in China, and second time my light bulb come on in the United States. Okay, there's a free market capitalism where, the supply demand and the competition, entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship will actually provide abundance of products and services. That's
And
what
it
I
works.
went through.
The free market works.
This is my first experience shopping in the grocery stores. Like, this is American grocery store. It's so cool, beautiful, spacious, clean. And many products, shelves were full. I had to make decision as consumer, what shampoo I'm going to buy. There are like 10 brands or something. I had to learn how to shop in brand, quality, price.
And that's something that we take for granted. We think about it. Like somebody who doesn't speak English, who comes to America and is looking for toothpaste, it's like that tube looks like many other tubes.
Yeah.
Could be Desitin.
But because in China we had a central planning economy, we were equally poor and enslaved, and the government have one brand of detergent, shampoo, soap, toilet papers, and we run out of toilet paper sometimes, and we run out of food, and we stand in line for everything. And here I just stayed at the grocery store shelf. Oh, I learned how to empower myself as consumer. What product I want to buy for the price I wanted, for the quality I wanted. That was great educational experience. But the people here, they don't have that comparison. They don't know, so they take everything for granted. So once I learned free to choose, and I said, wow, my whole life was a lie in China. I learned Mao starved people to death, not because we were fed. 3 years natural disasters. I had no idea how many people died under his policies and how many people died during his Cultural Revolution. I cried. It's like I was so stupid, dumb. I believe everything they fed me. And I started my awakening process to learn more about the constitutional rights of citizens, separation of powers. And when I become truly independent thinker, it was 2008. That was 20 years. I came to this country. And then I start to realize, then how come I don't recognize America anymore? They were talking about expansion of government, and they were talking about the government need to be solutions for lots of things, and involved in education, build the banks and all that stuff. And and that's when when I was a foreign student, become a citizen, I was independent. Then I joined the Republican Party because I like the platform, small limited government. But under Bush, I left the Republican Party. It's like what are they doing? This is not what I signed up for. So I feel like they left me, but I become truly awake. And then under Obama, I got scared.
Oh, I was terrified
It's
under
like
Obama.
Fundamentally transform America, replace with what?
Yeah, communism.
Communism and socialism.
Yep.
But they use fancy words. It's called an anti-racism and equity, diversity, inclusion. Those are they just buzzwords. Sell people to buy into those words and sounds good. But to me, what has been going on in America, it's very terrifying. We are going down this path of more socialist country and with more authoritarianism, and the people's rights are being canceled and silenced. People are afraid to speak up their mind. I saw what happened last 2 years, the rise of authoritarianism. They shutting down schools and small business and taking away parental rights, endless mandates and control. That's why I'm running, because I said I have been educating people for a few years, and country is getting worse. What can I do to do more? I'm going to get my message out to the entire country. I'm going to at least start with my state and to talk to people in the middle to say what I see. I need to warn people. This is what I went through in communist China, and we don't want to lose our country, going down that path. So I feel passionate about this. That's why people who meet with me listen to my stories, and they start to connect the dots too. And I just want to warn people what is going on in this country. And I think there are lots of politicians who are on the other side. They actually worship authoritarianism, or they call democratic socialism, progressives on the rise. I think I need to do more to save my country I love. Yeah.
Wow. So you've already signed up. You're a candidate.
Yes, I filed in January. I announced it over a month ago, and my messages are gaining tractions all over the country. And I'm just doing what I can, doing interviews locally, nationally, even radio network, and even the Chinese Mandarin, channels. And I'm campaigning full time with volunteers' help. The thing is, I worry for my 3 children. I had the American dream. I come here with nothing. I have 3 home business. I become self-employed after I got laid off by a corporation. And I can retire very comfortably with my husband in New Hampshire and traveling around. But I feel this is my calling. If I don't do this, who will? We need the immigrants, like the Russian and my friend Michael you interviewed. If we don't come out to warn our fellow citizens, to tell them the similarities, then other people, they don't know. Our students don't know. And they're voting, supporting their future oppressors. Yes. They talk about oppression, but they have no comparison. What is a real oppression under a socialist and communist and dictatorship? They thought, hey, what we're going through in America is oppression because, minorities cannot vote without a voter ID, and we need to free this, free that.
Well, they can't do anything in their life without an ID.
Yeah, you can't even go eat in the restaurant without the papers. Yeah. And it's propaganda.
True. In some places it's true. In Los Angeles, I had to show my vaccine passport to get in the building.
See, that's another thing why I feel this country is becoming like China. Okay, you have censorship, cancel culture, and you are accused that you're guilty at the birth because you were born white, racist. And if you say I'm not racist, that's it, and then you have implicit bias.
I think if somebody has a problem with the color of my skin, they should take it up with the maker.
And I truly believe that the people are born equal, and there are some racism exists. We need to work together to find out the cause of problems and trying to lift everybody up by having truly free market and equal protection under the law system. But by demonizing each other, it doesn't help. That's Mao's Cultural Revolution called identity politics is a hallmark of Maoism. He separated people into oppressor versus oppressed like Marx did. Then he put 5 black classes under oppressor, 5 red classes under oppressed. Let them fight each other.
What were they? What were the 5 red?
5, for example, 5 black class families were bad classes, enemies of the state, enemy of people.
Okay,
Landlords.
by black you don't mean the color of their skin.
Yeah, no,
They're
it's just
okay,
their
classes.
Because all Chinese look the same actually, pretty much the same. It's called rich peasants, landlords, counter revolutionaries, rightists, and bad influencers. How do you define rightists, bad influencers, counter-revolutionary? So he started this revolution to purge his political enemies. That's what I see is going on in our country. If you are conservative voices, silence them. Ban your YouTube videos.
Yes.
And if you go to January 6th protest, you get on camera, wow, your life is miserable right now. And I've been trying to I condemn all the violences, but I just don't believe my immigrant friends who went to January 6th protest, they were domestic tourists. They were immigrants, love this country, and they want to go exercise their right to have a peaceful protest. Lots of them did not involve in riots. Lots of them did not go inside the Capitol, but they were facing all kinds of troubles. And they want to keep their head down now. They're afraid to lose their jobs, to get canceled, and they cannot pay their mortgage. And you say how, they're trying to cancel the biggest YouTuber, Joe Rogan, right now, not long ago, right? And how many people are afraid even to speak up in our own state? I have people private messaging me all the time. Lily, you tell them, because we're afraid to speak up. I have to worry about my job, my career. It saddens me.
It's very sad, and it has happened. I've known people who've had somebody call their work and tell on them and get them fired. It's more than one.
I never dreamed I would be censored in my new country, a free country. I come here for freedom and prosperity. I was fact-checked many times. One post on mask was taken down. I was saying something, they admit now mask did not work very well. It was detrimental to our children. So I posted something to say, make our kids live in fear, hide their face, 8 hours a day, it become long-term trauma. The long-term trauma can cause long-term psychological mental damages. And I was right, and people start to say that. But my post was taken down by Facebook. They did not tell me what. They just say, you did not meet the community standards.
Yeah, I haven't met the community standards either on some things.
And not just private company doing that. You have government officials, and you have, White House calling Spotify to cancel the biggest YouTuber in the world, Joe Rogan show. Mm-hmm. Who gives them that right? Do they have constitutional authority? No. Are they violating people's First Amendment? Yes. But they're doing that publicly. But the government always wants to have power, wants to have control. But the problem is American citizens, especially lots of them in the middle, they don't understand what's going on. And they support them doing that because they feel like they're virtual signaling. They have this virtual moral superiority, think they're right. And they bought into fear-mongering by the media politicians in the past 2 years and all for greater good and public health. And this has supported, division of our society. We can disagree with each other, but I want to have a conversation with you. I want to hear all sides of stories and voices. But we even are canceling scientists, dissident voices.
Yes, and there's tens of thousands of scientists across the planet that disagree with the climate alarmists.
I did not hear about the Great Barrington Declaration. The Great Barrington Declaration was censored by our unelected bureaucrats, like Dr. Fauci people. They were talking about the COVID virus to say we need to have a focused protection for high-risk seniors with medical conditions. I did not know about this until later last year. It's like, how come I did not hear about it? Because they were censored. And the doctors who signed those also were affected. Some were probably facing risk of lose their practice license and stuff. And if you talk about early treatment, I have a Chinese friend who just interviewed me recently for his show. He was giving people early treatment medicines, and the Washington State trying to get his doctor's license suspended. What kind of country do we live in? Do you think a doctor is supposed to serve their patients and have moral duty and ethics to help their patients and to disclose all the information, all the treatment option to them? And now we have a medical tyranny in this country to tell you, you must do this, you must say this. Otherwise, you're going to lose your career. And also, and if you don't agree with this vaccine mandate, you're going to lose your career and lose your job. It's all what China has been doing. That's why I feel so passionate about
That's the word I wrote down. I'm like, boy, this lady has a lot of passion.
Well, because I have seen this before. Mm-hmm. It's not about public health. It's not about race, your skin color. It's about American Cultural Revolution happening to destroy our country. Replace with what? With, you can call that globalism, tyranny, dictatorship, and communist and socialist policies. It's about redefine social norm. Have you heard about all our kids are confused about their gender, about their pronouns, and they are using this to indoctrinate kids. You can do whatever you want when you are 18 to decide your gender change, to pay for yourself, but indoctrinate our kids in K-12 schools about the gender identity, and you can change your sex at a very young age without parental consent. It's what also Mao did. Create social chaos, social confusion, and get young people relying on the state, the government, instead of actually respect parental rights. Because they tell young people 13 years old in Washington State, you can have a transgender surgery, change your sex forever, to make that important lifetime decision without your parental consent, but their insurance have to pay for it.
I preferred Matchbox cars and playing in the mud to playing with dolls and wearing dresses.
My son told me, Mom, 13, I thought I was a dragon. It's like, how can I make that decision, Mm-hmm. I don't know what happened to parents. If our kids are like that, and the parents have waking up, ask a question, because they saw what happened last 2 years, what our teachers are learning online from home. So they start to question. But then our institutions have lost public trust. If you are not PC, if you go to school board meetings, you are angry parent, you are domestic terrorist. Mm-hmm. And so our FBI is becoming like a KGB or national security people of China. They're going to come knock on the doors and put you on the watch list. What kind of country I came here for? I feel like a whole bunch of communists just follow me or something into my new country here. And I've been censored. And because I'm very anti-communism, I've been threatened even to say, don't you ever want to come back to China. Yeah, I have people come to my talk as a spy.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
In Utah,
wow.
In Utah, Logan, I was a keynote speaker for a Republican Lincoln dinner. Somebody come, pay $75, record my entire talk, and tell people at the table they have been brainwashed. Because he said, we Chinese believe our leaders as our fathers. We don't need to vote for them. They're our fathers. We don't want to vote them out. So who is the one who been brainwashed? He never come to say hi to me. If you disagree with me, why can't we have a conversation, a debate, right? And tell me which side I said about my personal story is not correct. He's only 30-something. He doesn't even know how our life was under public Chairman Mao. But he told Americans they were being brainwashed and trying to destroy my credibility as a survivor of Mao's Cultural Revolution. But I feel maybe I'm doing something right if I become a threat to those people. That means I'm telling the truth to the powers, and they're trying to silence me. And I'm doing something right. I'm doing what American citizens should do, is to be loyal to our country, American first. And if we don't keep America as a free country, the world is gone. The world will be a very dark place.
The signers of the Declaration of Independence they had people after them too, threatening them.
They
And,
lost everything.
They pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor.
Yes. So those are kind of Americans I had in mind when I first came here. Give me liberty or give me death. And today, I'm so sad to say that we still have lots of those Americans. They're fighting with me, but lots of them are lost. They know less about founding fathers' documents, our constitutional rights of citizens. They know less than me, a Chinese immigrant who came here start negative from nothing at the age of 24. And there's something wrong with our educational system. Totally wrong. Our educational system basically dominated by the lefty teachers unions, and the professors are training our kids to be social justice warriors. And they just have this kind, I don't know, if teachers even don't know what happened under communism, like what happened to people like me in Mao's China, how are they going to teach our children a real history? They're only focused on teaching whatever they were told to teach. So yeah, so that's why I've been very active, testify and support good bills, oppose bad bills. That's why lots of people know me.
Concord or
Concord,
DC?
and in the 2020 it's online. Remember, I testified online from my home office. I set up a studio to be activated because I see the danger for all that in our own state. And our own state citizens are being silenced. They're afraid to speak up because, they're so afraid to be called racist. So I say, I'm people of color. Okay, they can still call me a racist or white supremacist, but I don't care because I'm telling the truth. I am the eyewitness of communism and socialism too. That's what China calls itself now. We are the socialist country, with limited, free market. So their economy is better. But I just don't buy into that rhetoric. And I need to warn people how fast you can lose a country and to see what is going on right now. And if you understand the danger, horror of communism and their tactics used by the communists, by the activists, you should be terrified too. So that's why I go out speak around. I will be speaking this Saturday in Connecticut to a public group about my life in communist China. I hope people will follow me on my Facebook page, Lily for Congress, to sign up and
Lily,
to come.
one L?
It's
Lily
Lily number 4.
Number 4.
Congress.
Lily for Congress.
That's my Facebook page. I will share my talks and events, and I'm very active posting there. I need more followers. I have 24,000 right now, and I need more followers to share my stories. I have YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. I'm everywhere to trying to wake up my fellow citizens, especially young people who bought into all that Democrat, socialism, free stuff, and from politicians that just like the Chinese, the communist leaders did. But nothing will come. Your life will be very miserable, and you will not have personal freedom.
Well, Lily, we have 8 minutes left. Let's spend the last 8 minutes talking about your campaign. Like, what do you need, and what are the citizens saying to you when you go around the state?
My interviews, my talks always receive standing ovations, very positive feedback. I have lots of people cross country, over 1,200 of them have donated to my campaign, and lilytangwilliams.com/Congress. And they all were very encouraging. There are currently 8 people in the primary, which is September 13th primary campaign, election day, and 7 Republican men in the primary race. I met a couple of them. They're all nice people, and I welcome them to debate me, and welcome them to give voters a chance to choose who will be the best person to go out there, persuade independent voters, to persuade citizens to turn out to vote, and to unseat Annie Custer. Annie Custer is my congresswoman. She has been there for 10 years as Democrat woman, and I have not met her personally, but I will welcome her to also debate me, and we talk about issues, talk about the Democrat policies, how they actually fail the voters of New Hampshire, how divisive those policies are, and how irresponsible are by printing money, inflate our money, and basically mortgage our children's future. because they're offering lots of free stuff they cannot afford to offer. So I think this is an exciting campaign at the grassroots level, and I want people to give me a look and go to my website and go to my Facebook page and to follow me and share my videos and sign up as volunteers, as donors, and there's donate button on my website too.
Thank you, Lily. And I think that about wraps it up, but you have a fascinating story, and I'm sure I'll see you around.
Well, thank you for having me. And as I said, I want to keep the American dream alive. And my American dream when I first came here was just freedom, living in freedom, prosperity, that's it. It's not too much to ask if we were truly land of free and the home of the brave, and the land of opportunity. That's why millions of immigrants want to come to this country. But if we stay divided and we want more socialism, we're going to lose the American dream. That's what I'm really worried about. So join me. Let's defend our American dream for our children.
Amen.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me today.
You're welcome.
Yes. Yeah.
And thank you for watching, and I'll be back again with another new episode soon.